All right, before I set the bed back down on this thing, I just wanted to post another quick kind of one-take update video on the Ridetech rear suspension install. Just kind of cover some of the installation process and what I found with the kit. Show you guys kind of how it looks on there. Overall, the installation wasn't too bad. The kit is pretty straightforward. It all starts and it all is centered upon the Ridetech notch kit, which has all your pickup points for like your upper 4-link bar, the rear pickup point for your lower bar, obviously your coilover mount. And this is, really the heart of the kit. That being said, it is also the most time-consuming part of the installation. The notch is pretty substantial, and there's like 20 fasteners per side that hold it in. So trying to get the frame notched in a manner that doesn't remove, unnecessary material and matches the contour of the notch well is definitely what took me the most time. And in addition to that, some of these fasteners, I don't know how they expect you to get the nuts on them, so I actually had to drill a few kind of access ports in the boxed portion of the frame so that I could get in there and get all of the hardware attached. But the side bolts here on the front side, inside the boxed portion of that frame, have a nut plate that gets inserted. I don't know if you can see the tab right there. That's the tab for the nut plate that goes down in there, which that helps make it a little easier, but there's no nut plate for the top or the bottom hardware, so those are a little bit harder to get to the back side to get a wrench on. In addition to that, my truck's a 99. The 99 and early 2000 trucks had a slightly different frame. The rear portion of the frame after the axle was a little bit narrower, and because of that, GM put some additional kind of ribbing on the front side here for rigidity, and that affects this notch kit from sitting flush on the frame. So I had to kind of pie cut that and work it and fold it in so that everything for the notch kit was able to mount against the frame rails flush and not teeter-totter when it was sitting down on the frame rail. You want that running 100% parallel and true to keep your geometry in spec. So, just the notch portion of this kit, I probably have 2 mornings of work in, which for me is 5 or 6 hours. That's painting it and drilling it and being a little more meticulous. I think overall you could probably get this kit on like a late 2000 to 07. If the bed's off, 6 to 8 hours. If you're efficient, you could probably get this on here. Took me a lot longer because, I try to keep the work really clean, and I had to contend with mine being a 99, which takes a little bit more time because of the frame design. So once the frame notch is on there, everything else goes together like Legos. Everything bolts together where it's supposed to. Everything lines up. There's no real adjustments needed. All of the fasteners are individually bagged. If you didn't have a rear shock relocation like I did, the panhard rod mount would mount right into your driver's side rear shock bracket. I didn't have that on mine, so because I had cut the rear shock relocation off of there, I had to kind of get the panhard rod lined up where I wanted it, have it running parallel to the ground. I also fought some clearance issues with the TA rear girdle. It sticks out quite a bit more than the stock cover, so I ended up having to kind of shim the panhard mount out there some to clear it and adjust how it was situated on the axle tube to gain some additional clearance too. So a few little nuances slowed mine down, but a lot of you guys probably would not have those nuances to contend with, especially if you've got like the late 2000 to 07, which, the majority of what slowed me down was the 99 differences. So your links go on, your coilovers go together and go on. Your axle, brackets get clamped onto the axle tube where all of your pickup points are for the link bars. Comes with all new hardware, comes with some inserts for your leaf spring mount so that those take up that opening nice and tight and they can't slide around under torsion load or anything like that. Panhard rod mounts onto the right side notch and then goes to that mount I was showing you on the axle tube. Everything came out real nice. I'm looking forward to seeing how it rides. It's got a nice firm but compliant feel, just kind of bouncing on the bumper. So I think it'll be a big improvement over the previous setup I had on here. And I'm looking forward to getting it out on the road and doing a little bit of testing with it. Your points of adjustment on here, the lower link bars are not adjustable. The upper link bars are adjustable. So if you need to adjust pinion angle, it can be done. I wish these were a double adjustable bar. They're single adjustable, so you have to actually take the R-joint side out of the mount and loosen the adjuster nut and manually spin it. It's not like a traditional adjuster where you would loosen 2 jam nuts and then rotate the bar itself with a left-hand, right-hand threaded joint that move opposingly. So given the cost of the kit, I would have liked to have seen double adjustable links on there and possibly for the Panhard rod too, but there's probably a reason Ridetech doesn't do that. Maybe there's some additional strength in only doing single, I'm not sure, but that was just one of my minor complaints if I'm gonna log any about the kit. Overall, really happy with it. Everything fits really nice. Everything went together well. I'm having a little bit of trouble. My truck sits really low in the back, so trying to match the original ride height, I've got the coilovers dropped pretty low on their mounts. And the springs are coming off the upper perch when the axle's fully drooped, which is a condition you probably aren't gonna experience that often unless you got the truck jacked up. But talking with Ridetech now about seeing if we need to do maybe a different spring on my particular combination or just add some tender springs so that they have a little preload at full droop. We'll see how that plays out and what they think. But in addition to that, with as low as mine sits, I did have to adjust the pinion angle some. The T56 in my truck has quite a bit of negative downslope, so to compensate that and correct pinion angle, my rear axle needs to have some upslope to it compared to the drive shaft. So had to dial in a little bit more pinion angle there. And an issue I had with the prior setup, you can see the witness marks on the drive shaft there. It used to just scrub this cross member just a little bit under hard load, and a lot of that was probably spring wrap with the leaf springs, but while the bed was off and while I had access, went ahead and notched that cross member so that we don't have to worry about making contact with that anymore. My pinion angle is set at a much better angle now. The chance of contact, especially with the 4-link and not allowing the axle to wrap as much, has probably been mitigated, but while it was all apart, it was a good opportunity to notch that. So this is that notch that Speed Engineering released. It's 50 bucks online, and it saves you the fabrication for trying to make something. All you have to do is cut it out, slip it on, bolt it together so that it becomes one piece, and then weld it in place. So that was a big time saver. First time using that product, and it's something that I would use again if you had a truck that sits really low or has rubbing issues in the back. It's a nice solution that is kind of prepackaged for you. So with that, I'll wrap this video up. If you guys have any questions, post them in the comments. Hopefully I'll have a video soon of this thing out on the street. And we're pushing to try to make it to Pro Touring Truck Shootout this year. That's something I've been telling myself I'm gonna do for a while, and never felt like the truck was really quote unquote done or ready, but we're getting close. So hopefully we'll see you guys there.